I always find it funny when I look into groups and people are asking everybody, where's the best place to live? Where should I live? What? You're asking us? We don't know you. We don't know what you're going to do. We don't know how you want to live. We don't know where you want to live. We don't even know how much money you have. So we are not the best people to ask. You know who the best person is? You. You get to determine where you want to live. And how do you determine that? By how you want to live. That's the first place. Do you want to live in a city, the suburbs, the beach, the mountains? Do you want to live in a community full of expats? Do you want to live with the locals? What's your budget? What is your budget? That's what we're really talking, because that's a big part of where you're going to live. And you want to think about, what are you doing on a daily basis? Are you just chilling out in the house on a daily basis? You're working from home? Or are you a person who is going to be out and about? You're going to have all the activities. Where are those activities that you're going to be going to? You want to live close to that. So when you're thinking about where you want to live, the only person who can decide that is you. Not where everybody else is living, but where do you want to live? The other thing I think about when I hear this question all the time is, I personally say, don't buy anything yet until you have lived there for at least a year or 6 months, at least 6 months, so you can establish your rhythm, because your rhythm will tell you where you want to live. Also, there's a lot of things you don't know about neighborhoods until you are living in those neighborhoods. And there's a lot of secret things like, which neighborhood has the best electricity? And I remember living in Nigeria. Oh my goodness, there was a street that always had electricity. They're like, so? Yeah, Nigeria does not have consistent electricity. So you want to know the neighborhoods that never have electricity and neighborhoods that always have electricity. That you will not know until you are there. So you can't see that. You can't Google that. That's not on the Google, right? And so that's another thing you want to think about. Does this neighborhood have consistent water? What's the infrastructure like in this neighborhood? Am I going to get water? Am I not going to get water? Am I going to get electricity? What are the grocery stores? Do they going to have the things that I want in the grocery store? There are so many, a plethora of things to consider. You will never know until you get on ground. So I'm an advocate of, don't buy until you have been living there for a while, and then you can make a choice of where you want to live. That's just me. You got to think about also, where are the things like expat communities. You also want to think about groceries. You want to think about healthcare, hospitals. All these things need to be considered before you commit. Now, I know people are like, oh, I want to live in a high rise, or don't get caught up into the infrastructure of what you want to live in. Get caught up into the lifestyle of what you're going to live, and think about your budget, right? Think about how in your budget also, how much money do you have, not only for rent, but in this place, are you responsible for repairs? When I live in Nigeria, everything that needed to be done to that house, it was us. We were totally responsible. So unlike when you were renting in the US, that anything happens, anything breaks, then you just hit the button and your landlord would come and fix it. Find out if those are the guidelines and the rules in the country that you're moving to. So you also want to understand, who is your landlord? That is a big part. Who is your landlord? Is your landlord going to be responding to your calls, or they're going to be like, that's not my problem, that's your problem? How do they have the infrastructure to even respond to your calls? Is this just one lady, one man in a corner who just decided it would be a good idea to rent out their house, and they don't even have the infrastructure for repairs? Or is this some investor that lives way in another country, and they're just going to, you have to wake them up at 2 in the morning to tell them that the plumbing is broken, and they're going to tell you to go find a plumber? Find out who your landlord is. That is so, so critical. I cannot stress that enough. The landlord could make or break your beautiful home that you love to live in. So as you're thinking about renting, as you're thinking about where you want to live, always, always, always think about your lifestyle. This is where you're living. It's not just some place that's going to be pretty because it's on the beach, or because it's by the water, or because it's in the coolest place in town. This is the place that's going to define how you in your new beginning is. So when you're choosing a place, you are not just choosing a location, you're not just choosing a building, you're not just choosing the wood, you are choosing the next chapter of your life. So I just want you to choose wisely. And until then, the next time we talk, make sure you're living an elevated life.